My beloved brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
First and foremost, I want to take a moment out to thank the administration of the masjid who helped facilitate this program, and we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to add this on the scale of good deeds. Secondly, I want to specifically mention our brother Ahmed Farah, who's sitting right by my side, who did a lot of the logistics, went through headaches after headaches, putting this program together, right? If he didn't message me a couple of days before we began to arrange the tour, then I don't think I would have come here. I actually completely forgot. I remember a couple of years ago I did a telelink. I think it was a Zoom call. And it was a lecture that was delivered to this masjid. And at the time, we had an agreement that if I did ever come to the USA, one of the first places I would come to was this masjid. But then it completely crossed my mind. But you know, subhanAllah, everything happens for a reason. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants something, it happens. إِنَّمَا أَمْرُ إِذَا أَرَادَ شَيْئًا أَن يَقُولَ لَهُ كُنْ فَيَكُونُ. We had one day left, and we didn't know who to put down. We were so close to putting down Atlanta. And then I remember, subhanAllah, that he messaged a couple of days ago, and then we put this program together. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our brother, our Ustadh. I know he's one of the people who are very, very heavily involved over here. He does a lot of the work. Sometimes he's just the guy in front of the camera, right? Or the one who gives the khutbahs that gets all the credit and all the plaudits. There are those who work effortlessly. They put blood, sweat and thirst. Is it thirst? Tears. Blood, sweat and tears, right, into arranging these programs, these lectures, right, these get-togethers amongst the youth. And sometimes you may think that this is all going to waste as someone who's organizing it. But remember, my brothers and my sisters, we may put in work, we may put in a lot of effort into establishing khair, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is Sami' al-Basir. He's watching everything and He's hearing everything. It does not go unnoticed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and bi'idhnillahi ta'ala it will be on your scale of good deeds. And thirdly, I want to thank everybody who has attended today. I know some brothers, they drove for hours to get here. I had some brothers send me videos on Instagram. I think they drove down from Michigan, some drove down from Indiana, right? And others from elsewhere. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless every single one of you who made the trip. Every step to the masjid in wanting to attain this khair, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, you will be rewarded for it. And of course, everyone else who attended from Ohio, right, who has attending this lecture, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless every single one of you and make this a night where we all take away some benefit. My brothers and my sisters, a very important point that I want to bring to your attention is the fact that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has chose every single one of us to be sitting here. How many friends, how many companions, how many relatives do we have? On a night like this, we are going to be doing all sorts of things, right? A lot of people, they have work tomorrow. Many have school. I was told that some people, they skipped class today. They entered into the masjid at maybe around Dhuhr time. And I'm thinking to myself, this class starts at 7 p.m. Why are they getting into the masjid right now? May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless every single one of you and guide you to that which is correct. The fact that Allah Azza wa Jal has allowed us to sit here is indeed something that should be commended and should be thankful. It really, really is. Like I said, many of our brothers, many of our sisters, many of our relatives, they are distracted. They are doing all kinds of things. And the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he told us, "Man yuridillahu bi khayran yufaqihu fi din." Whoever Allah wishes and wants good for, He gives him an understanding of religion. So He chose you from amongst all of these people to be able, and I say this, meaning every single letter that's coming out of my mouth. He gave you the capability to leave your home and then to sit in the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose every single one of you, brothers and sisters, who is sitting here today, right? May Allah Azza wa Jal keep us steadfast and upon that which is correct. My brothers and my sisters, as you guys may have seen on the poster that went round, which I think had the incorrect time, right? The topic today is about how we can soften up our hearts before the month of Ramadan. With Ramadan around the corner, my brothers and my sisters, a lot of the time what tends to happen is we want to do well in the month of Ramadan. However, we struggle to hit the ground running. And that is because we are not in gear. When you enter into a car, if you're driving a manual, not an automatic or a Tesla, right? When you're driving a manual, you have to go into gear 1, 2, 3, and 4 before you are able to put your foot down, right? Ramadan is no different, brothers and sisters. We want to take maximum and optimum reward away from the month of Ramadan. However, because we're carrying so much baggage from outside the month of Ramadan, we barely are able to hit the ground running. And before you know it, already 10 days has gone past. 20 days has gone past. And then it's already Eid. And then we're left disappointed, not having taken advantage of the greatest month of the year. This is why this topic that has been chosen of softening up your heart is extremely, extremely important. We're living in a time and age, my brothers and my sisters, where you have corruption at every direction you go in. We have filth and evil that is extremely, extremely rampant and widespread wherever you go. The Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told us in multiple hadith how difficult times will be when we near the day of resurrection. We hear about the hadith, right, that speak about the end of times, the minor signs, and we also hear about the major signs. From that which the Messenger ﷺ prophesied over 1400 years ago, salawatu rabbi wa salamu alayhi, when he said, من أشراط الساعة أن يقل العلم ويظهر الجهل ويظهر الزنا ويكثر الهرج. From the signs of the hour is that knowledge becomes scarce. It becomes less and less the more you draw closer to the end of times. Ignorance becomes so prevalent, my brothers and my sisters. Just look on Twitter, right? It is the platform if you want to cancel someone, right? Forget about cancelling someone who's alive today. You have some individuals going after Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Out of all the people that they could try and cancel, they could try and antagonize and insult and go after, they are going after the likes of Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. Who is Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, my brothers and my sisters? The companion that narrated the most ahadith. It wasn't Abu Bakr, it wasn't Umar, it wasn't Uthman, it wasn't Ali. The four great caliphites who took charge after the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam passed away. There was that companion who went through a lot of trouble, who experienced a lot of poverty and hardship. The companion, my brothers and my sisters, who would tie his stomach with a stone. Imagine this, brothers and sisters. He would take a stone and then he would tie it against his stomach after the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam instructed him to do so. Why? Because he wanted to seek knowledge from the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. While there were other companions who were busy with their wealth, they were busy with their businesses. The likes of Abu Hurairah would sit in the house of Allah Azza wa Jal, and he would tie his stomach because of how hungry he would become. He would go to sleep hungry, guys. He narrated the most ahadith, as Hafiz al-Suyuti rahmatullahi alayhi mentions in his 1009 poem. وَالْمُكْثِرُونَ فِي رِوَايَةِ الْأَثَرِ Abu Hurairah ibn Umar. Abu Hurairah was number 1, and then Abdullah ibn Umar was number 2. You have individuals who barely know anything about their religion going after the likes of Abu Hurairah radiallahu ta'ala anhu, because he was the narrator of some ahadith that concerns women. You got the feminists going after him. Right? These individuals who barely know anything about their religion. They may be running to university students. This system, my brothers and my sisters, and excuse me for mentioning the feminists. We've been having a great time on Twitter recently. Right? These feminists who barely know anything about the religion. Right? Some of them, my brothers and my sisters, they started university. And I'm going to speak a little bit about university and highlight how this is impacting our hearts, my brothers and my sisters. Right? She starts university dressing modestly, adhering to Islamic values and morals. After entering into this university, my beloved brothers and sisters, she runs into certain individuals who have polluted minds. And these individuals, subhanAllah, may not necessarily look any different to her. But because their minds have been hijacked, their brains have been polluted, they start spewing all types of filth and garbage, not realizing that some of the things that are coming out of their mouth is borderline Islam. It's flirting with kufr. Wallahi al-azim, my brothers and my sisters, a lot of us think that the greatest sin that we might be able to fall into in today's day and age is atheism. Yes, without a shadow of a doubt. That's something that strips you of your faith. However, there are other sentiments, there are other isms, where one begins to embrace certain filth and evil, certain sentiments that causes him now to flirt with kufr. Right? And without even realizing, she subconsciously embraces some of these doubts that have been thrown her way, goes to the Quran and starts questioning, right, some of the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it doesn't stop there. She starts contesting it, speaking to Allah azza wa jalla in a boisterous manner. How is this even fair? Look what the Quran is saying. Look what the Quran says about this and says about that. Talking about the Quran as if it's a human being. Let's change the words up a little bit and say, what does Allah Azza wa Jalla say about this, right? Sometimes, the way some of the questions are posed is of the following. What does Islam say about abortion? What does Islam say about women? What does Islam say about certain roles? About the woman becoming this and a woman becoming that? Or a man doing this or a man doing that? Why is it that we are wording it like this? What does Islam say? No! Say what does Allah say? Can you see how the dynamics change, my brothers and my sisters? These universities, my brothers, and I say this as someone who went to university and studied civil engineering. It is a breeding ground for kufr, shirk, all of these different isms, and of course, the rainbow team. Right? It's a breeding ground for all of these things. And I just want to make something very, very clear, just in case we have Fox News in the crowd. Right? I am not here to incite violence or harassment towards any human being. I'm not here to express my own views and opinions. I just quote. That's why none of my videos on YouTube get taken down, even though they're extremely controversial, because we have disclaimers right at the beginning. Right? I am not here to do any of that. We're just here to spread peace and to enlighten the Muslims of what is mentioned in the Quran, and likewise the Sunnah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. It is a breeding ground for shirk, for kufr, for all types of filth, you name it, fahisha. Everything is calling you now to go and contest what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala came with. I just finished in the UK a university tour where I went past 27 universities. Right? And some of these blue-haired feminists, right? They tried to close some of my programs. They tried to shut it down. But alhamdulillah, they failed. And likewise, those who are extremely colorful, right? They tried their utmost best, but it didn't work. Do you know how many students came up to me after I would deliver a lecture, discussing some of these doubts that they are maybe going through, and said, I think we may have to change some of the subjects that we are studying. I would speak a lot about philosophy class. No offense to anybody who's studying philosophy, guys, but we have to be real here. That professor does not care as to whether you're a Jew, Christian, a Muslim. Any person of religiosity, he's coming after him. Am I wrong, brothers and sisters?
No.
Aren't there professors like that in university campus?
Yeah.
They don't care what religion you are following. Right? They will try to strip you of your faith. That's what they're there to do, brothers and sisters. So I'm not wrong if I said that these universities are breeding grounds for kufr and shirk and all types of evil. Not so long ago I received a phone call, or was it maybe an email? I'm thinking now. It was an email of a brother who was complaining about his mother. He was saying that his mother came to know that her daughter has apostated, has become an atheist. She's come to know that. However, she does not want to do anything about it. You know why? Because she doesn't want to rock the boat. Her child is focused on med studies, or med school, whatever you guys call it. And because she's focused and concentrating on her studies, she doesn't want to open the discussion about Islam. Does God exist or not? Right? Our studies, my brothers and my sisters, at the expense of Islam, that which is most precious to us, at Tawheed, has it reached that point, brothers and sisters, that Islam has now become secondary to every single one of us? Is that what's happened now, my brothers and my sisters? Ignorance has reached this point. Does the hadith make a lot of sense now, my brothers and my sisters? From the signs of the hour is what? That ilm becomes scarce. Ignorance becomes so widespread. Right? And the reality of the matter is, my brothers and my sisters, right? We really shouldn't be surprised that all of this is happening and unfolding right before our eyes. You know why? Because we don't want to do anything about it. What do I mean by that? Many people always ask, right? How can we deal with a lot of these isms, these social problems that we're having? Our children being swiped from under our noses. What can we do? A lot of us are sitting around feeling sorry for ourselves. Right? Many of us are sick and tired of seeing this. I'll give you guys the example of the rainbow team. Wallahi, brother and sister, I'm being serious. And it's unfortunate that I have to use them as an example. You know, Ibn Taymiyyah rahmatullahi alayhi said the following. And whenever I see their efforts, I remember the statement of Ibn Taymiyyah that was uttered over 700 years ago. He says, وَكُلَّمَا ضَعُفَ مَنْ يَقُومُ بِنُورِ النُّبُوَّةِ. Right? The more you see people who call to the truth becoming less and less, enlightening the people about Allah's Quran and the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam sunnah, fashat al-fujur. You will see wickedness and evil, right? Al-bid'ah, innovations, and all types of filth, my brothers and my sisters, becoming rampant and widespread. This is why when you have an extreme, right, you will see the opposite as a knee-jerk reaction. Right? You see one extreme taking a stronghold on the community, one begins to feel, or he's made to feel, and that's very important. I word it like that. Right? We have extremism, widespread in certain parts of the world. Right? Joining terrorist groups and so on and so forth. And of course, this is something that we condemn. With our mouths that are full, we condemn terrorism in every possible way. Then you are made to feel that you need to leave, right, your Islamic values and morals in order to be a balanced Muslim. Does that make sense, my brothers and my sisters? But why does that have to be the case though? Right? Ibn al-Qayyim rahmatullahi alayhi mentions, right? Shaitan doesn't care. Deenullahi wasat, right? The religion of Islam is a balanced religion. However, the shaitan comes to you, right? And he tries to either take you right wing or left wing. He does not care whether you're right wing or you're left wing. His biggest objective is that you move away from normative Islam. To be a balanced Muslim. Right? That's why you got the liberals coming out portraying a flavor of an Islam which is absolutely batil. And the feminists are used as puppets to spread all types of filth, to spew all types of nonsense. Right? And you find the hub for this in the universities. When I've done this tour, my brothers and my sisters, I've spoken to enough people who are on the fringes of their religion, unfortunately. They are being targeted. As someone who went to university, you know what I witnessed, brothers and sisters? People like me and you, learning my religion, so that you can become guided. لِيَهْتَدُونَ وَاللَّهِ. Just so they could target vulnerable Muslims who are uneducated. And they start destroying their hearts. Right? Let me make something very, very clear, and I'm hoping every single one of you guys writes this down. Because you're going to need it. Especially when you see someone that you know, or someone that knows the person that you know, all of a sudden now having doubts about his religion. Just because you don't have the answers, my brothers and my sisters, that does not mean there aren't any answers. I'll say that again. Just because you don't have any answers, that doesn't mean there aren't any answers. Does that make sense? As someone who's maybe second year med student, if you go back in the summer holidays, right, maybe back to Pakistan or Somalia, people will start asking you questions about medicine. You're not going to have the answers for everything. You're going to turn around to that person and say, listen, Akhi, I'm just a second year med student, right? I'm still learning. It's common sense to react in that way. You're not qualified. Would anyone in their right mind, my brothers and my sisters, leave med school just because he didn't know the answer to the question he was asked back home in Somalia? Would anyone in their right mind do that? Then why is it when some doubts are posed to you, you are someone who's uneducated, right? You are not equipped with the tools to repel these doubts that are coming your way. Why is it that you are shaken by it? Or it's easy for you to just maybe leave the religion of Islam? Just because you don't have the answers, that doesn't mean there aren't any answers. We ask the people that are more knowledgeable than us. This is bound to happen, my brothers and my sisters, in today's day and age. The Messenger ﷺ told us this. How quickly people will leave the fold of Islam. In the hadith that always terrifies me, my brothers and my sisters, it scares the living daylight out of me whenever I come past it. He, salawatu rabbi wa salamu alayhi, said, say sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, guys. Why are you guys quiet? Allah yahdikum. Ameen. The Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, بادروا بالأعمال فتنا كقطع الليل المظلم. Hasten to doing good deeds. The fitan, the corruptions that you will find at the end of time is the trials and tribulations. They are like the dark patches of the night. Imagine yourself now, my brothers and my sisters, in the middle of a dark forest. There aren't any torches, there isn't any light. You will see yourself tripping over left, right, and center. Sahih. Because you don't have the light that is going to guide you out of this forest. Look what the Messenger ﷺ said. يُصْبِحُ الْإِنسَانُ مُؤْمِنًا وَيُمْسِي كَافِرًا. One, he wakes up in the morning as a Muslim, as a believer. وَيُمْسِي كَافِرًا. And by the night, my brothers and my sisters, he has apostated. Right? So quickly he ends up leaving the fold of Islam. This is not Abu Taymiyyah bringing out a narration from his own back pocket, brothers and sisters. The Prophet ﷺ told us this over 1400 years ago. وَيُمْسِي الْإِنسَانُ مُؤْمِنًا وَيُصْبِحُ كَافِرًا. He then goes on to say the opposite. It may well be that he enters into the night, he's a believer, but then by the morning he has disbelieved. يَبِيعُ دِينَهُ بِعَرَضٍ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Right? I used to look at this hadith maybe over 10 years ago and think to myself, how does that happen? He enters into the night, a believer, as a time when one is normally tired, and then goes to sleep, right? And then by the morning he's become a disbeliever. How does that happen? Right? This was all before social media, guys. When these smartphones came into our lives, life completely changed, brothers and sisters. I remember one of our professors, and I came across this book of his when I was revising for a master's entry exam in Medina University. This Sheikh Abdul Qadir Atta, he speaks about how they used to instruct the teachers at the university not to expose the students that come over with doubts that they would probably never run into. If a student now has come from Pakistan or has come from Somalia, only deal with the doubts that they are asking you about. Don't expose them to doubts that they will probably never ever come across. Well, I said this. Right? Because everyone lives in different places around the world. What you're exposed to is very limited. However, he says, as for now, in today's day and age, the whole world has become like a small little village. Agreed, guys? Once upon a time, if you wanted to access that which is haram, right? Or you wanted to access one of these links, that speak about how Islam is not the truth and whatever have you, you would have to go to that big Dell computer with a big back that is sitting inside of your living room. While you're on it, accessing haram, you're watching the door. Is anybody coming or not? Sahih? Nobody in their right mind would take that big Dell computer with the big back down to his bedroom, right? Under his blanket. Would anybody do that? Nobody would do that. However, life has become extremely easy now, brothers and sisters. We have these gadgets, these smartphones, that we go to sleep with, right? And then when you wake up, instead of saying, Alhamdulillah, he's like this, checking where his phone is. Agreed? Let's be honest, guys. Let's stop being in denial. Where you can access all types of filth and evil just before you go to sleep. Right? The World Wide Web is a fingertip away. Sahih. For those who don't know what www stands for, it stands for the World Wide Web. Let that resonate for a moment. The whole world is a fingertip away. Haram will come to your doorstep. You just need to click a couple of buttons. Right? Apostasy has become so rampant and easy to access. Right? With the spread of social media, of course, right? So the reality of the matter, my brothers and my sisters, wherever you look, you're either dealing with fitna to shubuhat, the fitna of doubts, or the fitna of what? Shahawat, temptations. This is why when we go back to the first hadith that I was mentioning, من أشراط الساعة يقل العلم ويظهر الجهل ويظهر الزنا. Also zina, my brothers and my sisters, becomes what? Prevalent and widespread. All of that which I'm speaking about, my brothers and my sisters, it is going to destroy your heart. I want you to really think with me for a moment. Why is it, my brothers and my sisters, there are periods in the day that we feel pretty positively, right? Our morale is up. Our morale is up. We feel good about ourselves. But then all of a sudden that drops. Right? We feel down. Right? We're going to come on to that, inshallah ta'ala. Look what he's saying here. وَيَظْهَرَ الزِّنَا. Zina becomes extremely prevalent and widespread. Once upon a time, my brothers and my sisters, I remember, some of you guys may and may not. If a sister became impregnated outside of marriage, it would be a big deal. Did you guys live at that time? Maybe not, because you're all millennials, right? Huh? Gen Z? Huh? What's that mean? Is there something out there? Like, are you brothers and sisters with me? Once upon a time, if a sister became impregnated outside of marriage, it would be a big deal, guys. It would be a really, really big deal. Right? However, now, sister becomes impregnated outside of marriage, the parent tries to find excuses for himself. Wallah, ya akhi, that family, that sister done it in that family, and that done it, and she done it, and why? Right? وَيَظْهَرُ الزِّنَا. A lot of time we think, right, zina of what? When the man and the woman, they get together, sahih. There's another type of zina as well, I'll tell you guys about it. Zina al-aynayn. Zina al-aynayn al-nadar. The zina of the eyes is what? Looking. The zina of the lisan is what? Flirting and chirping with her. Right? وَزِنَا الْيَدِ الْبَطْشِ. The zina of the hands is to reach out to her. And the zina of the feet is to go and walk towards her. When you look at the first two, my brothers and my sisters, right? How easy has it become? How easy has it become now to do zina with your eyes and also zina with your tongue? With the spread of social media, guys. Sometimes a sister slips into your DMs, right? And the shaitan is whispering, don't give a da'wah. Right? You make 101 excuses for yourself. Wallah, she might become my future wife. And before you know it, my brothers and my sisters, her body ends up giving him da'wah. In the month of Ramadan, my brothers and my sisters, with the month of Ramadan round the corner. With the Ramadan round the corner. Just about every Ramadan, my brothers and my sisters, I receive a message, maybe a couple, right, of a brother and a sister asking, what is the expiation for having committed a zina? What is the expiation for having committed a zina in the month of Ramadan? Did you know, my brothers and my sisters, if you are married, husband and wife, if they have sexual intercourse while fasting in the month of Ramadan, right? Did you know, my brothers and my sisters, they are committing the worst and most major of sins? Did you guys know that? Between husband and wife. We're not talking about boyfriend and girlfriend. Husband and wife, it is a major sin. A man came to the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and he said, Ya Rasulullah, وَقَعْتُ عَلَى امْرَأَتِي. I had sexual intercourse with my wife. Right? And he also said, هَلَكْتُ وَفِي رِوَايَةٍ احْتَرَقْتُ. He said, I've destroyed myself. In another narration, he said, I burnt myself, meaning I burnt myself in the hellfire. This is between husband and wife.